What's going on, everybody? C4 here. Welcome back to the channel, and today we are here for episode 19 of Madden 22 Pink Slips. It is the off-season episode, so what we're going to do here today is just a lot of the housekeeping, a lot of miscellaneous. We're going to remind ourselves of the stats that we achieved, kind of look at the stats around the league quickly to kind of cap off this season. We're going to go into the off-season where we're going to have free agency. We're going to have the draft where we're going to showcase some of the top players in the draft, be it the actual draft players or players that are supported through the Patreon. And then, when all is said and done, we will kick off and set up everything for the next episode, which will be the kickoff of year 3, the redemption tour for the San Antonio Express to, finally get home, finally win the Super Bowl, do the damn thing. So what we're going to do here today, first, let's just take a look at the stats for the rest of the league before we actually move into the offseason. We have the actual official season recap here, where you can see everything. Nick Chubb, Super Bowl MVP. I think deservedly so. The guy that single-handedly beat us should probably be the MVP, right? You look at all the rest of the awards. Let's actually get a little bit of a big picture about who's doing what. Maybe give us an idea of targets. Maybe some targets that we might want to kind of circle in when we know that we're going to be playing them next season in year 3. They're like, man, these guys dominated year 2. Maybe we should highly consider, poaching them. Especially if they're not even the highest rated player. That'd be stuff that we consider. So Deshaun Watson was, pretty damn good. 53 touchdowns, 11 picks. We got 46-9 for Trevor Lawrence, who's on the Rams. 45-7 for Jordan Love on the Bears. Tom Brady still doing the damn thing. And I don't even know how old he is at this point. 40 for Mahomes. And then 40 for Mac Jones. That is the end of the 40 club. We have a Patreon player here, 37-13. And for everybody on Patreon, I get a little bit of a busy afternoon. But tonight on my Patreon, I will be uploading not only where your guys' prospects land up from this year 2 draft, but I will be kind of going through and looking at what all your rookies did this season in the Madden sim, but that will be a separate Patreon video, so stay posted to that. Let's look at the running backs. McCaffrey, not really surprising. 1,900 yards, 14 touchdowns, 18-17 for Kamara, 17-17 for Dalvin, 17-17 for Chubb, 22 touchdowns for Ezekiel Elliott. There's our boy Najee Harris doing the thing. A lot of 1,000-yard rushers here. I wonder who's the most surprising. We have Andrew West, Patreon player, going over 1,000 yards. Mostert had a nice season. A lot of people ate. Here at the running back spot. Quez Watkins, there we go. Not the leading receptions. That is Christian Kirk. But for yards, 1,400 yards for him, 17 touchdowns. DK second place. You got Julio, Cole Beasley, renowned scientist, traveler of the worlds. I mean, no one too surprising. I think you could probably, I don't even know if you can argue Tim Patrick's solid. He's solid in real life and solid in Madden. I don't think there's a single guy there that got 1,000 yards and I'm like, oh, come on, Madden sim. That's ridiculous. I think the argument can be maybe not enough good guys got 8,000 yards. For blocking, Graham Glasgow, the only guy that pitched a shutout all season long, no sacks given up for the Indianapolis Colts. On the defensive side of the ball, leading tackler in the NFL was Isaiah Simmons. You got McKinney, Patrick Queen, Mosley. Whoa, 1-2. A lot of tackles there on the New Orleans Saints defense. And the Raiders, Jesus, get off the field. At that point, come on, boys. For sacks, we got 25.5 for Tank Lawrence, 23 for Myles Garrett, 17 Von Miller, 16 Stephon Tuitt, 16 Harold Landry, 15.5 Aaron Donald, Clowney. And then we have Watt with the 15. Leading interceptions, Marlon Humphrey. Wish Greg Newsome didn't really slow down there a little bit. I thought he had a chance to being the ball hawk leader in the NFL this season, but really, second half, I don't even think he had one pick down the second half of the season, so a little bit frustrating there, but I mean, it is what it is. Who's the fumble king? Who's the biggest hitter? No, it's Tank Lawrence. Unreal, man. Did not see that coming from DeMarcus Lawrence. Kicker. Yeah, Crosby. Will Lutz made 100% of his kicks. That's actually, 18-18 is pretty damn good. Where's our dude? I thought he was up here. Vedvik, 86%. Don't think he's getting kicker of the year anymore. I don't know. I don't think anything else really needs to be shown for the regular season stats. Now, would you get an idea like Tank Lawrence now? That's the reason why I want to do that. We never would have thought Tank Lawrence, he was there, he's a veteran. But we think we're going to go win the Super Bowl next year. We play the Kansas City Chiefs somehow. Knowing that you see Tank Lawrence, he's 30, he's not really, he's killing it. So maybe he'd kill it on our team as opposed to going with the guy with the dev trait and the stats and the age like Chase Young. And he doesn't really do it for our squad. So that is the roundup for year number 2. Let's kick off the offseason. It's kind of retirement scav. I mean, we haven't really been in the business of getting older players, but You know, there may be a couple guys like, we didn't get a chance. Like, you got Joe Hayden there, K1 Short, Janoris Jenkins, Matt Ryan's done, Rodney Hudson, Linval Joseph, Mitchell Schwartz, Von Miller has decided to hang him up, Richard Sherman, Jason Kelsey, Damakun Sue, and Antonio Brown all retiring. So for the free agency period, usually I don't sign anybody, but at this point, I feel like depth players that are interesting to me that may not even make the final 53 are kind of worth opening up negotiations for. So if they're a player that I've kind of been thinking about, or they have some sort of history on the channel, I'm going to pull the trigger. So we're going to start a kicker. Goggles is here. I think for the second straight year, I just feel like, why not, right? This is going to be our only opportunity because we're going to be doing the Panthers franchise, stuff like that. We're probably not going to bring Goggles in. Why not, right? Like, it's a kicker. I'm not going to fault myself too much. Then we got an RB2, Kene Wangwu. We've talked about potentially getting him as an upgrade. He's there in free agency. He's only a running back too. So I feel like anything that's a depth move in free agency, as long as we're not immediately signing a starter, less, Goggles here, I don't really have a problem with kind of building our depth because, I mean, we're probably not even going to use him as an upgradable player. So I don't think there's any real harm there. So we're going to bring in Wangwu here. Great speedster. For going to be a real one on the channel to remember this guy, White Lawrence Taylor. Felt like every time or any time we played the Arizona Cardinals Madden 21, this guy was unstoppable. So don't really need anyone to challenge Owe for the starting outside linebacker spot. So I feel like that's pretty fun depth. Does have a depth trait too. We got Albert O, much like Wangwu, who's just been a depth tight end we've talked about bringing in. The fact that he's sitting there on free agency, why not throw him a couple bones? He is a pink slips tight end through and through. I got Davion Nixon. I just liked him coming out of Iowa. And I'm excited to actually use him in the Panthers franchise. Right now, he'd be D-tackle 3 on the squad, maybe even D-tackle 4, just some depth there. And then Kyle Fitz, he's pretty much been a perennial pink slip player the last couple of Maddens, just didn't make the cutoff this year for the team. So I figured why not add a little bit more depth and get an upgrade over Davis for right outside linebacker too. Let's take a look at our draft class now that free agency has been done. So this draft class, as all the draft classes are going to be in pink slips, are a mix of real players and Patreon players. If you want to have your own custom player involved in this series, all you gotta do is support the Patreon. There will be a link or a post anyways that I will do at the beginning of each season, and every comment there for an active Patreon will get a player involved. Now, there is a certain little bit of modification that goes into it. I think that also with that territory comes a degree of, I'm not going to actively avoid drafting Patreon players, but I do know the threshold for their rating at least. So, I mean, that would be a tiebreaker. If there's a really good random draft player and there's a Patreon player, I'll probably just go with the random player because I have modified the Patreon players. So for full disclosure, all the Patreon players are at least a 68 overall. I don't know anyone's dev trait because I want to try to know least amount of information as possible so that if I do get an event that I have to draft somebody, maybe I can be surprised and there'll be a hidden dev trait, or they might just be a regular old normal dev trait. But let's meet the draft class. At quarterback, I mean, a position that we don't really need. I think we're firmly committed here with Mac Jones. But we have Owen Carney from Oregon. He is regarded as the top quarterback in this class. Not getting great draft grades, but again, for the Patreon players, if you're a little bit worried you see some reds, you're got to be, for the most part, the best players in the class in certain aspects. We have Adam Knight Jr. here from Indiana, another first rounder. We have Pablo Sanchez from Central Florida, actually getting a fairly good draft grade there. And then Sean Chambers out of Wyoming. Both these guys here might not be regarded as first round. There seems to be a big gap, a big discrepancy in the tiers and rankings of quarterbacks this year. But I think all these guys are going to be fairly solid field generals when they get into the league. At running back, we have Tony Mobley, who looks pretty damn good. Early first rounder. I don't really know I have no idea what we're going to go for a draft, to be completely honest with you. But some of these running backs do look good to potentially, stick in. Let's look. We actually have couple of high combine grades here. Taylor Smith is the first round. Clyde McPhee, first rounder. So a lot of value here at running back. We have Jerron Mulligan, White Panther from North Dakota State, first rounder, 6'2", 230. Very intrigued at 6'2", 230, running a 4.50. Got a little bit of that Nick Chubb athleticism I see. At running back, we have Robert Cantor here. Mid-first round grade for a fullback, sorry. You can't ignore that. I'm going to be interested to see how high he gets drafted. I mean, we do have Tebow in line. I don't really think fullback's a position that we're going to be overly concerned about, but he looks absolutely crazy. We have David Walsh here, Buffalo State small school player, but looks like one of the better value picks in this year's draft class. Actually has the highest combine grade out of all the fullbacks. At wide receiver, we have Jason McIntosh. Not too often you have the #1 overall player being a wide receiver in the draft class. Not a burner by any means, more of a technician, but he looks fairly juicy. We got Jameson Reese. North Dakota State must have been a powerhouse. We have a lot of North Dakota State players. 7.3 combine grade, second round grade. M.H. Mullins. You think he's related? He might be related to the Mullins family. Ole Miss, second round grade, but still projected to go in the first round. Rise Taylor from Minnesota, 6'6", 250, could be potentially in line for a transition to tight end, but that is a big time physical. What's the speed on this guy here? 4.6. Hey, so a little bit slower, but still, maybe, you know, you could look at him potentially going to that tight end spot, or a team that really wants to utilize big outside possession guy. We have Braxton Walker, second rounder there from Michigan. Radiance Ham from Toledo, looks pretty good. We have Tyler Stewart from A&M, second round, first round grade at wideout. Late first round, but he's a speedster. Got some speed there a little bit later on. I mean, there's some solid value. I think adding depth to wide receiver is a spot I want to do, because we only had 4 wide receivers on our roster for most of the season last year. So definitely a position we will be interested in. At tight end, we have Ken Haney from Penn State, 6'4", 265, and Oliver Savoy. We're gonna assume that it's French. This was a Patreon player. Savoy could be, but here in Canada, that's Savoy. Like, you know, that's the number one thing annoying. I mean, it's not, if you've heard in wrestling, people call it Chris Benoit, or like there's different, like I've seen someone in the UFC. It's Benoit, come on. But either way, he actually looks like these two guys are easily head and shoulders the top 2 tight ends in the draft class. So maybe we could add a little bit more depth to the tight end spot. Who knows? Offensive line looks like kind of a poop show, which is unfortunate. I mean, this guy could be draftable for us. Hunter Wyndham from USC. Just to add depth on the O-line. I think that's a spot that you never really want to invest in pink slips when you don't have to. So maybe we could think about Wyndham being one of our top targets. We don't have a first round pick. You got to remember, we lost the spin the wheel. So we had to send that elsewhere. We had to send that yonder. So we're going to have to start our draft in the second round. Again, not much here on the offensive line, man. That sucks. I would love to be able to just draft good hidden dev linemen so I don't have to use pink slip points and pink slip victories on them, but is what it is. And not much there at right tackle as well, unfortunately. So let's go to the defensive side of the ball. We have Jared Ward, one of the top defensive ends in the country, mid-first round grade here. Not too bad. We have Jay Havel from Syracuse, early first round talent, speed rusher. I'm interested. This, you know, defensive, you could always add more depth for sure. We have Lars Rudd from North Dakota State. As you can just see, so much talent this year coming from the Bison, FCS level. I mean, you've seen the transition in the NFL. FCS players have as good a chance as any. If you're a good football player, they kind of throw the school out the window, and you can get drafted whenever, man. We've seen, you know, Carson Wentz go in the first round. We've seen a couple FCS players, even as late as last year's draft, the 2021 real-life draft, going day 2, early day 2. So it seems like there could be a run on North Dakota State players. We have Ben Dover from Oklahoma. Really high combine grade, just S-tier athlete in just about everything, but he's only a second-round talent. Someone's going to draft him. James Derange from Oregon, getting a mid-first round grade projected. Supposed to go in the 4th round, but, you know, these first-rounder guys go. And I think you're fact 6'6", 280, almost a 7 combine grade. Someone is going to draft you under the assumption they're going to develop you into a hell of a player, because you can't teach 6'6", 280. D tackles, we have Hans Machine, Southeast Oklahoma State. This is some sort of foreign exchange student monster. Some science project gone wrong. Very good athlete, mid-second round talent. Evan Rushing from LSU looks pretty damn good as well, mid-first rounder. This is definitely an area and position that I think we should be interested to see who's on the board in the second round. Thonk Soup Stank from Florida. All right, 6'4", 290, great name, sure. Gunter Plunderung from Arkansas Monticello. All right, I mean, get small school players. Let's go. Justin Elam, we got a couple first rounders. There's always value at defensive tackle. So we're going for the all-name team or all-talent team. We know all these ratings are fairly good. Someone will jump on one of these first rounders at D tackle. Linebacking core, we have Thad Jett. Actually, wasn't able to scout him fully. We got Ron Tickle from Western Kentucky getting a first-round talent. Drayvon McDougal from Oregon actually looks really good as well. Really good year. Needs a left outside linebacker. I'm interested. Middle linebacker, we have Charlie Caruso from Notre Dame, the only first rounder of the group, even though he got a second round grade. Still looks like a good player. Cole Derby from Boise State, 7'3" combine grade. We have Jeffrey from Westminster. Is that the dog show? That's all I know, and I don't even know if that's right. That might be in the same ballpark. 6.9 combine grade. Brian Cameron, Deion Johnson, some pretty good linebackers. Right outside linebacker, we have Richard Stonebreaker from Stony Brook. Stones, rocks, onyx. Well, he looks, yeah, solid. If you need a power rusher, mid-second round, top right outside linebacker on the board. Got a couple guys scouted on a little bit lower. There's some solid value, though, at linebacker. Definitely a spot that I think we could add some depth. Into the secondary, Brian Klein at a Texas A&M 7.3 combine grade. Bringing back the white corner. You know, it started with Troy Apke. Well, actually, it started and kind of ended with Jason Seahorn. It's coming back, man. There's a dude actually at Iowa right now, Riley Moss. And I mean, I don't know. You don't need to throw if you're a good corner, you're a good corner. But it's just always kind of interesting. It's weird in a good way, like a weird in absolutely 100% positive way of seeing that. And, you know, who cares, man? Best football players. Let's get on the field. We have Elon Musk, no relation, out of Harvard, mid-second rounder, projected still to go in the first round. Juan Sweeting out of South Carolina there as well. Wish I could scout a little bit more as I go through this process. I think I'm going to spend my points up to the draft just getting a little bit more information on corner. I think that's a spot that we can get a little bit more depth. At free safety, we have Haynes Money from North Carolina A&T, first round grade. Probably get us something in the second round. Great combine. Gersh Mooney from Florida State, great combine as well. Projected to go in the first round. Richardson, there's still some solid depth here as well. A little bit later on at free safety. Strong safety of Yerk Taylor from Delaware State. FCS, low-level talent. Is dominating this year's draft class. Late first round grade for him. Great size. Could even be like a hybrid of a linebacker a little bit. We have Grayson Lothbrok from Miami. A little bit of a white lightning here. He should be a good player. Good run support. We have Buster McNuggets, first rounder. Fifth round talent. Not a lot of people. He looks like he's also 47 years old. But someone's going to get a hell of a player, all-time name. I guarantee his jerseys are going to be selling like hotcakes. Dutch Johnson in the first round, the second at a Boise State, late first rounder. Really good-looking combine, really good-looking skills. 6'1", 230, 4'4", I'm a little interested. I'm going to be completely honest with you. And then we just have the special teamers. I didn't really worry about scouting them. Now that we hopefully are going to be able to land goggles in free agency, shouldn't be too much of a worry. So those are the draft prospects, Patreon, and everything in between. If you are a Patreon player and you didn't see any of your guys in here, make sure you reach out to me and I will make it up to you. But I'm almost certain I get everyone. I have a checklist this time. So that is the draft players. Let's get to the draft. All right, so for free agency, we laid out all of our targets. Wanwu, Dixon, Goggles, Fitz, Gardeck, White, Lawrence Taylor, and Albert O, all coming to San Antonio. Long time for the Express to pick. Had to wait all the way to the second round, pick 31. But now we get a chance to go in here and improve our squad. So let's take a look at least the players that we've scouted. Who looks the most intriguing? We're probably in a scenario here that we're going to most likely draft. Best player available. I'm thinking for positions. I'm thinking middle linebacker could be one. I'm not going to go all the way down the fifth round. We're not going to reach. I'd say middle linebacker, D tackle is another spot I would be a little bit considered. Maybe corner as well. We have Andrew Rainey, the corner here, mid-first rounder, 7.0 combine, 5'11", 194. I like that. We have Kyrie Gilbert, late second rounder. You don't have that center, man. When in doubt, get the center. Do you think we can get him in the next round? Probably not. We're going to have to take our shot. We have Ron Tickle here, linebacker as well, late first rounder. I'm thinking let's grab this center and hopefully that corners around on the swing of things in the third round. Usually first round great centers have depth traits, and he does. Hunter Wyndham at center. I think we just got a day one starter for the squad here at center. 75 with the hidden dev, 88 strength, insane stats. That's a hell of a pick. Let's go. Need a corner. Gonna grab the top corner on the board here. Rashard Hurst from Alabama. They don't make bad football players. A little bit slower, but it's not bad. 70 normal dev. Okay. There's two options here at D tackle. Another spot I want to add a little bit of depth. We have Quan Myers, early third round talent. Josh McLaughlin, late third. So that just kind of did the subtraction for us right there. 71 normal dev, number 127. At that pick, 85 power move, 85 strength. Sure, a little bit one-dimensional, but I'll take that. This guy's kind of been like just staring me in the eye every pick. He's just Carl Simmons, wide receiver, Middle Tennessee State. You know, what's the worst thing? You know, it adds a little bit, maybe special teamers. 69 normal dev, would like another hidden dev trait, but if all we get to linemen, beggars can't be choosers, I'll take that, considering we did not have a first round selection. Let's go, Carl Simmons. Welcome to San Antonio. Gonna grab our linebacker here, Braxton Banks, great name. Again, more of a depth move here. 67 normal dev, Braxton Banks, great athlete, big hit power. Okay, great for special teams. So for our draft recap, and for always, I've just mentioned it there, for the Patreon players, there will be a separate kind of recap for you guys. I would give you 10 minutes of breaking down the class. Everything else will be exclusive on the Patreon video, so check that out. A little bit later tonight, I'm going to record that after I'm done. I'm going to get a Halloween costume shot with my kid. So here's our draft class. So we got I think it may be debatably belle of the ball here in Hunter Wyndham. Supposed to be a 3rd rounder, 75 hidden dev. Everything else was just solid. At the end, my last 2 picks, I thought about maybe just trying to follow the big, tall, who's the tallest and heaviest punter. Just add competition there for Tommy Townsend, Johnny Townsend. Which one Townsend I have? I won the Townsend brothers. They're both okay. Nothing too great. But luckily, we get depth at corner and ultimately a brand new starter at center. That's pretty good for pink slips. Couple tough roster decisions now. Got rid of some guys that were easy cuts. RG3 needs to go. We're definitely not getting rid of Tebow. We'll get rid of Cottrell here. Man, I kind of want Nick Foles on the squad. But with Eason, I mean, is there any other way we can kind of... Don't really need Fitz. Didn't even make the roster. We don't need... Throw Steiner on practice squad. Man. What's this guy? Dickerson. I don't really need a 5th wide receiver there. But then we only have... I mean, we're already hurting right now wide receiver. I mean, we don't... I don't think we need Huntley anymore with the Wangwu signing. I wish we could stash someone else here on the... we don't need a 3rd right guard. Thank you for your service, Ben Bredesen. So we are now at the end of the offseason. That will be the end of this episode, but I do want to give you guys a little something to help me out in the comment section below. It's a brand new season, so a new opportunity to adjust our team captains. We have 6 team captain spots. I want to go with what the consensus is. So leave a comment on what you think your team captains is. If you see other team captains that are in line with what you want, make sure you thumb them up so I can see them at the top of the comments. But right now, our current team captains are Darius Leonard, Najee Harris, Montez Sweat, Greg Newsome, Mac Jones, and what? I don't think it's actually Tevin Jenkins. I think that might be a glitch. There's no way Tevin Jenkins is our last team captain. He's absolutely should not be protected. So either way, give me your 6. I don't even think I was maximizing our 6. So I'll just, at this point for default, make it our highest rated players. But I think questions could come into like Marshall Lattimore. He's bounced back the team on and off, on and off. We got Jamar Chase now coming in wide receiver. Oh, there we go. That was the last captain spot there. So, like, does Jamar Chase get a captain spot? Should we reward Quez Watkins with his years of dedication and just becoming the most, like, how crushing would it be? I guess maybe even that's a valid question, right? That should be the way to looking at it. It's like, if we lose a Jamar Chase, is that going, even though he's a higher rating and has a higher upside, is that going to feel as bad as if someone wins and we have to almost be like, they have to get Quez Watkins? Like, is losing Quez Watkins worth not putting in the captaincy spot? Like, you know what I'm saying? He might not be the best player, might not be the best maximization of the protecting a player with the captaincy spot, but for what he means to the series, could he be enough? So give me your 6 team captains ahead of week 1. And what day is today? Today is Wednesday. Might be Pinks tomorrow. I'm thinking probably Pinks Thursday, new rebuild Friday. And I'm also, if you are on Xbox, my draft class should be out soon. I finished 100% of the offensive players. I'm chipping away at the defensive players tonight into tomorrow. So I will probably have a video going up when my draft class is ready to be downloaded. And I'm also very quickly working on the 2023 draft class. I really want 2 draft class files. Kind of work hand in hand just because it's so difficult trying to understand like what underclassmen may be going and stuff. So at least if I do 2 draft classes, you're like, well, why isn't this guy in 2022? He's clearly declared. I'm like, well, hey, he's in 2023. You'll have your opportunity to get into that player. But all that stuff is for another video. All I want to leave with you guys right now is that if you are a Patreon, check out a video going up later tonight, which will recap where your new players have gone, as well as what your players from year 1 did in their rookie seasons. Let me know in the comments section who our team captain should be. Leave a like if it's your first time stopping by. Hit that subscribe button. All these different things help my videos in the YouTube algorithm. And until next time, it's C4 saying peace out.